Hey everybody, and welcome to another deck profile with Into One for Game for the Team Up to Darkness Ablazed format. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one of the Fire Titans of this set, Cinescorch VMAX. This is a deck I know a lot of people are excited for, so here we go. We have 4 copies of Cinescorch V. My favorite part about this card is its Burning Emissions attack. It does 20 damage, and I can discard energy, and if I discard energy, you have to discard an energy. Um, when it comes to dealing with things like Arceus if they get those early energies on, like the Water Energy, and you can Burning Emissions them to make them go behind on attachments, it's probably going to feel pretty good. It also sets you up for Cinescorch VMAX's Centriferno. It does 40 damage plus 40 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon, and then after you calculate damage, you can attach another fire energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So, idea being, I discard energy, you discard energy, then I welder onto my Cinescorch, and now I do 80 damage, and then I get to accelerate from my discard pile onto Cinescorch, and it just kind of combos well together. Backing that up, we have 3 copies of Volcanion. Its Flare Starter attack on turn 2. On your first turn, if you're going second, allows you to search your deck for 3 Fire Energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So that's essentially plus 120 damage on your Cinescorch VMAX. So you're doing 160 with just the Flare Starter's bonus. And if your opponent's not set up, it's perfectly acceptable to sit behind Flare Starter and slowly power up some more guys until you're ready to start going toe to toe. We have 1 copy of Victini V. Spreading Flames is pretty great. It lets you attach up to 3 Fire Energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Being able to refill one of your Cinescorches after a Cinescorch goes down is pretty good because essentially what's going to happen is 3 prizes, 2 prizes, 3 prizes. You're setting them up for an 8-card game. They may ignore this and go after something else, and then you can use Energy Burst to deal some heavy damage depending on how much energy you attach. We have 1 copy of Mind Report Mewtwo. Being able to grab your welders back and put them on top of your deck is definitely going to be helpful. We have 2 copies of Dedenne GX to get to draw some cards. 1 copy of Heatran GX. This is probably like the most used GX that I'm seeing in the format right now because fire's good. Burning Road, as it moves to the active, it can take as much of the fire energy in play as it wants and throw it onto itself. And then it can do 50 damage for every fire energy attached to itself. So, you can get some big numbers on some other Pokemon. We have 3 copies of Jirachi. We're playing a lot of switching cards, so Jirachi here is definitely worthwhile to be able to search out some extra cards in a turn. And then rounding out our Pokemon, we have a 2-2 line of Nine Temptations Ninetales from Team Up. We're allowed to discard 2 cards from our hand to choose one of our opponent's bench Pokemon and make it the active. So now we don't have to use our supporter for turn to be boss's orders. We can use another copy of Welder. We can use Marnie, we could use Professor's Research, and we can still choose what we're attacking into that turn. So that just seems really good, and it gets 2 energy into the discard pile to allow VMAX Centriferno to power up some more. Sorry, GMAX Centriferno. I don't know why I keep wanting to call them VMAXs, but, here we are. So moving on to our supporter count, it's pretty straightforward. We have 4 copies of Welder, which is, what we're going to be wanting to play the most of. That's why I have the Mind Report Mewtwo, being able to grab extra copies of Welders to play. We have 3 copies of Professor's Research, being able to search for what we need to accelerate energy, draw cards. It's got everything. We're only playing 1 copy of Marnie. You're going so fast that the points where you get Marnie are reset stamped down to a low card hand. You should still have like a pretty decent field to manage. Your attacks don't cost a lot, so you have a better chance at recovering it's just one of those things where we don't need to disrupt as much because we're trying to swing harder, faster. So with trainer cards, we have 4 copies of Quick Ball. Search out our basics. We have 4 copies of Switch, being able to move out of our hefty boys with Cinescorch and Volcanion with their heavy retreat cost is nice. We have 3 copies of Pokemon Communication. They're going to help us find our evolutions. Maybe we can justify some copies of Evolution Incense if that's something you're really going into. Have 2 copies of Fire Crystal. You are going to put a lot of fire into the discard pile because you want to, but you might get a lot of fire energy in the discard pile, and then you want to be able to use 9 Temptations. And being able to play Fire Crystal 9 Temptations is just going to be really good to help clean up certain things. We've got 2 copies of Giant Hearth, being able to grab fire energy out of your deck, trading 1 fire energy for 2 fire energy, and then getting the fire energy you discarded back through Gmax Centriferno is definitely a win. Got 4 copies of Scoop Up Net. You're playing Jirachi to help you find things. It's good. It's a way to switch your Volcanions out of the active, which is also helpful. If your opponent is playing something that's placing some damage counters or sniping some damage, being able to remove Vulpix or Ninetales off the field is also going to be great. Pardon, it's a little hot, so we're going to take a little sip of water here. And that wraps up all our trainer cards. So rounding out the list, we have 3, 6, 9, 10 fire energy. I know a lot of lists are playing 12. I kind of wanted to just cut some to find some space for some things. This is definitely a number that could go up depending on what you're looking to do with your deck, or what deck space you can find. I found it's been like a reasonable enough number to work with because it's still hard to take one-shots on anything with Centriferno. It scales nicely, and you're recycling your energy out of the discard pile, so you don't need a ton in deck. And even when you overcompensate your ones in the discard pile, you should be able to Fire Crystal them back to have some more to use here and there. So that's the deck profile here. For my own testing and things I've seen other people do, this seems to go about 50-50 with Eternatus. If Eternatus can just get set up and get rolling, it's going to clobber you. If you can outlast a lot of what they have going on, you're in a good position. The thing that I feel with a lot of what you do against Eternatus is you have the ability to gust their Crobats nonstop. And what that means for you is you need 3 is 160, so you need 4 energy on a Cinescorch to one-shot a Crobat. So if you get 2 Cinescorches with 4 energy on them, which can be attach, welder, attach, and then welder your one, the one on the bench the next turn, kill a Crobat, Eternatus swings into you for 270 and doesn't quite knock you out. Let's grab another Crobat, knock it out, and then finish up with another Crobat. That, to me, seems like the easier game plan in dealing with Eternatus is ignoring Eternatus as an attacker and worrying about its support Pokemon. Because the nice thing is, as you knock down support Pokemon, their damage goes down too. One card that I've been looking at as a tech for a lot of decks is 1 copy of Bellelba and Bryson Man. Right now, the Eternatus decks don't play a whole lot of cards that can shuffle their Pokemon back into the deck. Most of the versions I've seen don't even play a single copy of Ordinary Rod. So 1 Bellelba Bryson Man sending them from 8 to 3 Pokemon can really offset their damage abilities. And the thing you have to kind of keep in mind, though, is if you decide to put like a Bellelba and Bryson Man in here because of your extensive gusting options, you would want to make sure to grab the support Pokemon off the bench before you play Bellelba and Bryson Man so that they can't just discard their Crobat Vs and not have to risk that casualty. So just keep in mind that one Bellelba Bryson Man doesn't completely cripple the deck. It does slow it down. It does change their damage output. But for the most part, they've accepted that they are two-shotting you. And slowing them down by a turn isn't much. But if you can say, all right, Crobats did, Cinescorch takes 270. Crobats did, Cinescorch is knocked out. You've got 4 prizes for their 3. And now as long as they still have Eternatus non-VMAX, Crobat V. I know some people are talking about Hoopa GX with its Scoundrel Ring to search out some cards. As long as there's another 2-prize attacker, you've got the advantage in the prize trade because neither one of you are one-shotting each other. Now, to be fair, at that 270 damage area, they play 4 Scoop Up Nets and 4 Zigzagoons, which will give them one shot against you and can, sway things in their favor a little bit. But I do feel like Cinescorch is probably the deck that goes 50-50 with Eternatus the easiest and keeps okay matchups in other places. Against Charizard, I feel Charizard is favored against you just because their damage ramps up so much easier than yours does. Salamence, I think you have a lot of support Pokemon, and they can kind of take that route of worrying about landing Twin Sonics and Transflights and just cleaning up little stuff. If they're able to drop like a couple rounds of Transflight, followed by a couple rounds of Twin Sonic, they're probably poisoning themselves to finish off a lot easier. And what they could do is try to knock out like your 2 of your Vulpixes and 1 Volcanion, and then try to just finish off the Cinescorch for game. And it's a perfectly viable deck plan for them. If they're able to accomplish it, that's a whole nother story. And I think that comes down to, are they playing the Porygon Z version or are they playing the Fire Stuffs version? If they're playing Fire Stuffs, you might be having a little harder time because you're probably keeping pace with them. If they're playing Porygon Z, you should be able to outpace them unless they are just hitting the nuts and going from there. Against Arceus Palkia, it's probably a little bit closer to 40-60 in your favor. You do have easy ways to deal with their Zacians. You don't have to get down. Like, you only have 2 3-prize support Pokemon after their Altered Creation. So you can make them go Dedenne for 3 prizes. Any of your non VMAX guys for 2 prizes. And then finishing off a VMAX for 4 prizes. And they went for too many prizes. If they're smart with their gusting, they might be able to avoid that. I know I've seen one channel, and I'm pretty sure it was Tricky Gym, that was testing 1 copy of Inteleon V to be able to use Snipe or Hand Report to do 320 after Weakness and Altered Creation to get 1 easy knockout on Cinescorches. So, there's plenty of ways that you can prepare for the matchups. I don't think any of them put you in a terrible position. I think Cinescorch has overall a good amount of 50-50 or better matchups, which is what I'm looking for when I'm kind of selecting a deck. Unless like the one deck that I have a poor matchup against is not likely to be seen, and then I'll just kind of accept that. But if I'm 50-50 in everything, including, the most popular deck in the format, I feel like I'm in a good place. So if you're looking for something to play and you kind of like the aggressive fire Pokemon style, Cinescorch may be up your alley, and I hope you enjoy it. What do you think about Cinescorch? Tell us down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. We love to hear suggestions on things you might have put in the deck. But otherwise, until next time, we will see you later. Have a good day.